everybody, this is Kim from K Diamond Paints. Happy May the 4th be with you. I hope everybody's having a good day today. I love May the 4th be with you. I love Star Wars. Huge fan. So I wanted to jump in. I'm working on my Mother's Day diamond painting. It's squares. Look at these beauties. Aren't they pretty? So I had been working on this and I was outside on a windy day. I don't know if you follow me on Instagram, but let me just show you a little of what happened on that beautiful windy day. It wasn't that windy. I left the premises. I know that sounds crazy, but it wasn't that windy. I got up to go do something. I turned around and everything was on the deck. I had a tray like this, a full tray like this, spilled over. And so lovely. So let me put up a couple pictures for you right here. This color, and as you can see here, it's okay. So let me start with the first color. The bigger bag is what is the bigger bag? What is that number? It's 963. And then this is the smaller bag, 2464. So let me put those two up for you. And you can see they are pretty similar in color. But then when you look at this, let me put up this one, a close-up, you can't, as much as you can tell them apart when they're in the separate bags, you can't tell them apart at all when they're on the diamond painting. And as you can see from that photo of the diamonds, I have plenty left. They give you a ton. At least that's my experience so far. This is my very first Huacan, so I can't speak for anything but this exact instant, and that is, they have given me a ton. So if I do run out of this one, and I really don't think I will, but if I do, I'm just going to throw in the other number because you can't hardly tell these puppies apart. And this is, so how they're fitting in here, because I know the big thing is popping, right? I finished all of that one that was 963. I did the whole diamond painting, as you can see, in that one. And then up top here, as you can see where it's filling in, I finally started that second color. And they fit tight. You know how sometimes people talk about the, what is it, like the snap or the pop you can hear when you put the diamonds together? I do get that every once in a while. And so with squares, to me, it's such a Goldilocks moment, right? They can't be too big, they can't be too small. If they're too small, then you see the grid lines and you get massive gapping, like guide circles for circles, right? For rounds. If they don't fit perfectly, then you'll see the guide circles. Same things with squares. And then if they're too big, then they pop. They have to be just right. I mean, I think that's asking a lot for whatever machine is doing this. So far with just these two colors, I'm not having any popping. They fit. Oops, that's wrong. Hold on. I gotta go get a tool. Hold on. Okay, I got the tool, but now I'm gonna forget where I put it down. I know you can see it, I bet. Is this it? That is not it. Oh, darn. Where was I, you guys? Okay. Well, it's not gonna matter now. Nope. Now I don't know where I was. They all look the same. There's only a couple. See this little hash marky one? There's only a couple like that, and I just covered one up. Keep going. It's all right. Keep going. I know you're like, no, it's that one right there. Maybe if I go back to the film, I'll be able to find it. Anyways, so far with just these two colors, they are fitting perfectly. So fingers crossed my luck continues. Okay, so now that we've talked about my diamond painting and my so far successful story with Huacan, let's get into the May the 4th be with you part, right?
The Force will be with you, always.
And may the Force be with you.
May the Force be with you.
Remember, the Force will be with you. Always.
The Force is with you, young Skywalker.
Okay, so this isn't going to be a long video, but I do have I found some really fun little trivia pieces about Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I was pretty young when the first one came out, but I do remember we hadn't really experienced anything like that before. At least for me. I was a really young girl, but I remember even like my parents saying, you know, when like the little guy would come down the hallway, the little tiny little robot came down the hallway on the Death Star, and we were like, what is this show? You know, what is this thing? But it was, of course, it was fantastic. It was great. And by the time the second one came out, the lines were nuts for that. I don't remember, the lines would go around the movie theaters, like around the block. Oh, it was crazy. It was so much fun. It's such a great part of my growing up, the Star Wars. And so it's just, and they're just amazing. Just amazing. My favorite one, though, of the new is Rogue One. Oh, dude, I love Rogue One. That movie, to me, I think the new Star Wars, the series, are just kind of a regurgitation of the first ones, which were what? 4, 5, and 6. Now they called it New Hope. Started out when we were around, right? It was just the Star Wars. But now in this series, it's 4, 5, and 6. To me, they're just a real regurgitation of that. I mean, it's great, and the battle scenes are great, but not really new. Whereas New Hope, to me, is what I was hoping that the franchise would be. So, I love that one. But on to just the funky trivia facts. It's really, I think it's so cute. So, I had heard some story like this. George Lucas had based Chewbacca off of his dog. He had like apparently a huge Alaskan Malamute, which I can't even imagine. Those dogs must be huge. And the dog's name was Indiana, which is how I had heard about the dog. But that's what Chewbacca was based on, was his dog. I can absolutely see that. He said the dog would be like in the front seat with his head out the window, right? And what a great image that is for a dog to be a co-pilot. I do love that about dogs. I think dogs just never can run fast enough for themselves, right? I love it when you see dogs with heads out the window. They look so happy. So that was one. Another follow-up to that about Chewbacca, the costume. His costume, I read in, what was it? Which series it was? I don't want to say my trivia wrong. That would just be horrible. And by the way, if I do get any of this trivia wrong, please feel free to correct me in the comments below. But it was, Force Awakens and New Hope, that his costume was, the fur was the yak belly fur. Let's be specific. Yak belly fur. I don't think that looks soft. I thought, isn't yak fur used in like knitting, in making yarn? Am I crazy? I don't knit, so I knit a little bit. One of these days, I have to show you a picture of the scarf that I knitted. And you can't tell because it's... Anyway, we'll do that another time. Let's just stay on topic. We'll talk about my horrible knitting skills some other time. I'll have to get pictures. I'll have to go find the blanket that I knit. You're gonna love it. You're gonna crack up. Okay, so that's the Chewbacca ones. Those were pretty good. Yak belly fur and the what of it. Oh, so the Empire Strikes Back director, his name was, let me look. I put notes here because who wants to get this wrong? Irvin Kershner. I read this article from that, somebody interviewed him talking about how everything went wrong everything went wrong on that set, and like all the props and things, they were having to use like nylon cording and things to get stuff to move, and it was just horrible. And how Yoda, at first, they were imagining he'd be humongous, this really big figure, but they thought that was kind of playing to type, what you would expect. So they went the exact opposite way, which made it even worse, because then how were you gonna, what was it gonna be? If you made them so small, they didn't come up with the puppets idea yet. I guess one of the first ideas they came up with was a trained monkey, that you would put a trained monkey in the Yoda suit, and then they would animate his lips. Poor monkey. People don't like to be in those suits. Monkeys are covered in fur. I don't think he would have liked that at all. So I'm glad they moved on from that and spared the poor monkey. My goodness. So that one, trained monkey. I think it would be really interesting. These people are all so creative to listen to their thought process like that, right? I just think that would be amazing to hear. And to let your imagination go that far. Because I think sometimes, at least for myself, when you're in a room full of people and you're brainstorming ideas, you have to have a confidence to be able to just spit out whatever comes into your mind. Because I think that's how you get the free flow of your imagination going, right? Is to just keep going, just keep saying things, however outlandish, to come up with a solution. And I think I'm too self-conscious that I would ever let myself do that in a room full of people. So I think a room full of people like that, and to hear what they would come up with, would be fascinating. I would love to hear that. Okay, so on to our next one. So the sound director, Burtt was his name, to come up with the noise, the sound of a lightsaber. I guess he kind of had an idea of what he wanted, but it came about by accident. He was carrying a microphone through the room, and there was a TV, I guess on the floor or low, or anyway, wherever it was. The TV was on, but the volume was really low. And when the microphone passed behind the TV and the TV tube, remember TV tubes? Remember when TVs were that large? Look, if it weren't for that, there might not be a lightsaber sound now. Huh? So it made this humming sound, this buzzing humming sound that he thought was really interesting. He combined that sound, that buzzy hum, with a projector sound. Speaking of, remember projectors? Did you ever have, when I was in school, we had projectors. And that was a great day, right? When you would watch a movie in school, and someone would have to know how to set up the projector. And I knew how to set up the projector. You guys, I used to help out in the computer room. We had Commodore 64s, and I knew how to do stuff on the Commodore 64s. So I would help out in the computer room. Oh, the Commodore. See what good memories Star Wars brings back? Oh, Star Wars. So yeah, so he combined, that's how you get your basic lightsaber sound. By accident. Happy accident. Oops, I just lost both of those. Here we go. What do you think? See how nicely they're fitting together? I think these are the nicest squares I've had so far. I'll have to go back and correct myself if that's wrong, but so far, and maybe I should reserve until I get, because who knows? I always talk about my Puff W keys, but those are the biggest squares I've had, and I have troubles with those squares where it's certain colors. So I'll have to wait until I get all these colors done, because we might get to one color that just throws the whole thing for a loop. So I'll reserve. I'll say at this exact moment in time, everything is going swimmingly. Okay. That was Ben Burtt, Magical Lightsaber Man. Oh, so Liam Neeson came in right with the, I don't know, what do you call the first ones? I forget the names of the first ones now. You'll have to tell me down in the comments if there's, because if you're not a Star Wars fan, you've turned this off way before now. So if you're a Star Wars fan, what is your favorite Star Wars? Of the Star Wars. So like I said, I like Rogue One, but of the Star Wars, oh, I might have to say Star Wars. That was so different and original when it came out. Oh, I did it again. Hold on, I got the tools right here. There we go. I saved that one. But I think so far my favorite fight scene is when Kylo and oh, what's her name? Kylo and oh, this is gonna kill me, you guys. What's her name? Kylo Ren. Oh, Rey. Rey. Kylo Ren and Rey are fighting in second to the last one. I love that one. Okay. So Liam Neeson, that's it. Thank you. Oh my gosh, I did it again. It looks so much like an up arrow. It's just an up arrow without the bottom stem. And when I get going, here we go. Hit it. There we go. He came onto the set, but the set was already built. And he's apparently 6'4", and he didn't fit on the set. Is that not the biggest faux pas? Either make the set to fit your actors, or I mean, like, wait. Whatever. It's probably the product, they have to go, but so it costs $150,000 to re-outfit the set so that he could fit through the doorways on the set. They're like, really, this guy? This is who you are? I'm surprised they didn't just get somebody else. Can we get somebody shorter in here, please? Make him kneel. Walk around on his knees everywhere. Nope, 6'4". I didn't know he was that tall. Did anyone else know he was that big? I don't know. I think it's hard to tell how big anybody is in the movies because they always play people, you know, like optical illusions and everything. So you can't ever tell how big people are or anything. So yeah, I did not know he was such a ginormous human. Okay, and the last one, I know this is quick, but I just wanted to wish everybody a happy, may the force be with you. And the last one is George Lucas and his good friend, of course, why wouldn't they be, Steven Spielberg. So the movie came out, Star Wars the original, in 1977. In 1977, Steven Spielberg had Close Encounters of the Third Kind coming out. What a great year it was for us with sci-fi, huh? I did not remember that those two movies came out at the same time. Well, whereas everyone thought that Star Wars was going to be a hit, apparently George Lucas didn't think it was going to be that big of a hit. And Spielberg thought that it was. So they bet each other against their own movies. Or George Lucas bet against his own movie. So they bet 2.5 points of each other's stake in their movies that Star Wars would be the bigger hit. So I guess George Lucas thought, yeah, this is a safe bet. I'm gonna I'm going to make some money off of my friend over here. Well, as it turned out, right? Close Encounters made $340 million and Star Wars made $800 million. So to this day, like 40 years later, Steven Spielberg still makes 2.5% or points of George Lucas's stake in Star Wars. Was that not the best deal he ever made? It's got to be one of his better investments, right? What a bet. What a bet. I find that awesome. I wish I had made that bet with him. I'd still be here diamond painting with you guys, though. Even if I was... Where would I even be? Someplace warm. That's for darn sure. Someplace warm. Okay, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me. May the 4th be with you, and have a great day.